Hey guys, Rail the Appreciator here, welcome back to another video. Today we'll be doing an album reaction to Billie Eilish's 2024 album, Hit Me Hard and Soft. I'm really excited to listen to this album in full from start to finish and just, listen to the tracks, go through the lyrics, the production from her brother Phineas, and just, talk a lot more about this album. I really love this album and I'm excited to listen to it again and just share my thoughts with you. Skinny, the intro track of this album, is very emotional and very powerful, and the track just really has like a slow acoustic guitar with piano and strings, maybe violin on it. It's just like a reflection of Billie's insecurities, and throughout the track she explores various themes such as falling in love for the first time, likely with a woman, I think, and like her internal versus external perception and the anxieties that she has about aging. I really love the lyrics on this one, and if we go through it now, fell in love for the first time with a friend, it's a good sign. Feeling off when I feel fine. 21 took a lifetime. I really feel those lyrics. Like when I turned 21, it feel like it just took like a long part of my life just to get there. Because when you're in high school for like sorry, when you're in like primary school, high school, you're in schooling for like 12 years, from like age 5 or 6 to 18, and just you're not really in charge of the decisions you want to make. Your parents are deciding for you, your teachers are deciding for you. People say I look happy just because I got skinny, but the old me is still me and maybe the real me, and I think she's pretty. So just like the people commenting on her weight, or like her own perceptions on her weight, like what's a healthy weight, losing weight, gaining weight. And I still cry. The vocals on this track and this album are just absolutely insane, and accompanied by Phineas's amazing production, it just makes this album so great. And you know why? Am I acting my age now? Am I already on the way out? When I step off the stage, I'm a bird in a cage. I'm a dog in a dog pound. The vocals on this part is crazy. Just the lyrics as well. Bird in a cage, dog in a dog pound. And you said I was your secret and you didn't get to keep it. And the internet is hungry for the meanest kind of funny, and somebody's got to feed it. That's just so brutal. I really love the lyrics on this part, and I just wanted to read some stuff for each track from like the interview she's had just from the Genius website. So an interview with Alt 98.7 and iHeartMedia, when asked if the song was written first or if the song was added later as the opening of the album, Billie explains her and Phineas's songwriting process. And she says, and I quote, "We had pieces of stuff. Funnily enough, Lunch was the first song that we had wrote in full. We had ideas of stuff, and the verse of CHIHIRO, and the chorus of Lunch, and a verse of Bittersweet. But nothing was real, and it didn't feel. We really didn't know what we were going to use. And then we wrote all of Skinny, and that's like the first full song that we wrote. And as soon as we wrote it, we were like, yeah, that's the opening track." Second track on the album, Launch, is like one of the more popular tracks on the album. It's very catchy, it's groovy, I like the drums on it. But if you also think about like what the topic of the track is about, like, it's one of her boldest tracks to date, as she likens lesbian sex to an afternoon meal, like saying I could eat this girl for lunch. And she discusses both her sexual prowess and desire to be with an unnamed woman. The latter theme of the album being one of the many defining throughout the album. Like I said, again, the drums are just so killer on this. Also, like her breathing adds to like the production and the beat. It's a great job by Phineas once again. And it just explores the themes of queerness, identity, confidence, and questioning, making it simultaneously one of her more explicit and undertoned songs. And now if we just quickly go through the quite explicit lyrics with I could eat that girl for lunch, yeah, she dances on my tongue, tastes like she might be the one, and I could never get enough, I could buy her so much stuff, it's a craving, not a crush. Just very simple rhymes on it, enough stuff. Just very explicit, like talking about eating a meal, eating a girl out, performing oral sex. Call me when you're there, so I bought you something rare. So the air rhyme with there, rare, Claire, stairs, chair, hair. Baby, I think you were made for me. Somebody write down the recipe. I just like how she likens like eating and food to that with a woman. Really cool comparison. I've been trying hard not to overeat, but you're just so sweet. That's a chorus. I could eat that girl for lunch. It's just a very catchy track, so I'm not surprised that it's so popular and has so many streams. And then you got the rhyme with mirror, clear, hear, volunteer, ear to ear. Just very simple, but meaningful lyrics. Like it's getting the job done for what the song's topic is about, and it's very very creative with the writing and just the production as well from Phineas with the drums and her breathing on it. Just ties everything together, and yeah, it's just a standout hit from this album. Let's look at what Billie Eilish has said about Lunch in some interviews. So that song was actually part of what helped me become who I am. To be real, I wrote some of it before even doing anything with a girl, and then wrote the rest after. I've been in love with girls my whole life, but I just didn't understand. Until last year, I realized I wanted my face in a vagina. I was never planning on talking about my sexuality ever, never in a million years. So that was with her interview with Rolling Stone. And it says, how did she open up about her sexuality? I have deep connections with women in my life, the friends in my life, the family in my life. I'm physically attracted to them, but I'm also so intimidated by them and their beauty and their presence. So there's a few interviews here. I didn't, but I kind of thought, wasn't it obvious? I'm just like, why can't we just why can't we just exist? I've been doing this for a long time. I just didn't want to talk about it. I saw the article. I was like, oh, I guess I came out today. However, she later called out the news outlet on Instagram for outing her instead of talking about anything else that matters. She also expressed frustrations during interview. I was never planning on talking about my sexuality ever. Okay, I've read that part. Yeah, very very interesting track. I really like how the production really blends well with the lyrics and what she's talking about. I like how she mixes like the eating and food with like things to do with lesbian sex. It just works really well together, and yeah, this is just a really great track. Third track on the album, we've got CHIHIRO. So CHIHIRO being the girl from the 2001 Studio Ghibli film called Spirited Away, and this movie basically follows a girl who learned to face her fears by developing a heightened understanding and appreciation of life. And this is a really great track. I really enjoy it a lot. I just love the creativity with having the title of the track and what the track really means. And it sees Billie, you know, feeling unseen and misunderstood as she searches for spiritual and physical reconnection with the world. I really like the lyrics on this track. The vocals are just crazy once again, and production as well. Just another great job done by Phineas. I just love how repetitive and catchy it is. It's just a really great track. Let's see what she said about this track. So in an interview with Zane Lowe with Apple Music, she expresses how cool it was to write and record the song on the spot. Recording it was one of the most coolest moments of the whole album. I filmed the entire making of the album. There's this one video where I'm just sitting there and Phineas is coming up with one of the coolest produced songs of ours. In my opinion, he's just like making it up. I'm just improvising. I don't have any memory of this, and I just went with "That's where you found me," and I was waiting in the garden. Just came right out. Immediately, I was like, "Open up the door. Can you open up the door?" And during the same interview, Phineas replies with that line, "Open up the door" was a huge win, and it's ambiguous, and I love an ambiguous line. I just love that so much, just because this track is like very repetitive and catchy, and the beat's so killer. It has the huge crescendo at the end, but yeah, her vocals as well is just so good. This is a really like really well put together track, just overall, with vocals, lyrics, production. And how did Studio Ghibli influence her music? Obviously, the title of the track. Um, she said in an interview with Vice, "I owe so much of it to Miyazaki." So Hayao Miyazaki, the person directing the Studio Ghibli movies, and just that whole weirdly so unrealistic but realistic. And when Phineas saw Spirited Away, my brother was so scared from the parents turning into pigs, and he had to go to therapy for like years because of it. And I effed him up pretty bad. And I was like, yeah. Like, I remember watching it and being like, this is hard. And I watched it over and over. I thought it was so dope, and I had the biggest crush on the dragon in that movie. That's so random. I really like Spirited Away too. I remember watching it for the first time, and yeah, also being freaked out when the parents turn into like pigs and the daughter's kind of just like stranded. And just with the music video for this track as well, she says, "I came up with a video idea for CHIHIRO when I was walking through 30 Rock at SNL over the winter, because I was listening in my headphones to it. And we were just like walking through the back entrance of the building, and I was just picturing stuff, and I came up with this whole kind of vibe of a music video from that experience." Fourth track of the album, Birds of a Feather, the most streamed track on the album. It's got almost 3 billion streams, which is just insane, which is very, very catchy. I just love it a lot. And on this track, she expresses a belief in enduring love that persists until the end of life. She describes it as a powerful connection that remains resilient through challenges and emphasizes her desire for her partner to be by her side for eternity. That's just like, wow, like till the day that she dies. And just like the vocals on it, the production is just so, so catchy and groovy. It just makes you want to dance. It's a very, very feel good track. And despite what the song's about, it's just, yeah, she's just has a really good way of having really good concepts for songs and having good lyrics and production and just tying it all together and making it a really good whole like body of work that's just really, really high quality. And Billie and her brother Phineas, who collaborated on the song, described the song as a deep exploration of the overwhelming emotions tied to attachment and commitment. And they revealed during the song's creation process that they initially overcomplicated the song's message, but ultimately, in the end, they were able to like streamline it. And Billie emphasized that the meaning behind the track is intentionally left open, inviting listeners to find their own interpretations of the song. I just love that so much. Let's look at the lyrics on this song. It says like, till I'm in the grave, I want you to stay. Till I'm in the grave, till I rot away, dead and buried. Till I'm in the casket you carry. Just very, very descriptive and detailed and kind of like hyperbolic and exaggerative. If you go, I'm going to, because it was always you. And if I'm turning blue, please don't save me. Nothing left to lose without my baby. Yeah, just very, very descriptive, very detailed lines, very, very meaningful at the same time, very endearing. Birds of a feather, we should stick together. I know, I said I'd never think I was better alone. Can't change the weather, it might not be forever, but if it's forever, it's even better. And I don't know what I'm crying for. I don't think I could love you more. It might not be long, but baby, I love you till the day that I die. It's just, this chorus is just so cathartic from Billie. It's just really, really great. Like, you feel emotional when you listen to it. Like, when I listen to this track, I do get goosebumps. How you look to me, you wouldn't believe if I told you, wouldn't keep the compliments I throw you, but you're so full of ish. Tell me it's a bit, no, say you don't see it, your mind's polluted, say you want to quit, don't be stupid, and I don't know what I'm crying for, I can't love you more. Just the lyrics are just so, so beautiful and cathartic on this track. It just makes you feel something, like you can feel what she's trying to express. Now let's look at what Billie said about Birds of a Feather. This song has that ending where I just keep going. It's the highest I've ever belted in my life. I was alone in the dark, thinking, you know what, I'm gonna try something. And I literally just kept going higher and higher. This is a girl who could not belt until I was literally 18. I couldn't physically do it. So I'm proud of that. I remember coming home and being like, Mom, listen, that's just so, so amazing. Halfway through this album now, and we've got the fifth track, Wildflower. This track recounts her experience of comforting a girl after a difficult breakup and then having a romantic relationship with the person that the girl broke up with. So, so brutal. I love the acoustic guitar on this, the drums, the vocals, the crescendo at the end, the layering of her vocals. And let's just go through the lyrics now. Things fall apart and time breaks your heart. I wasn't there, but I know. She was your girl, you showed her the world, you fell out of love and you both let go. Just very, very meaningful, deep, powerful lyrics. She was crying on my shoulder, all I could do was hold her, only made us closer until July. Now I know that you love me, you don't need to remind me. I should put it all behind me, shouldn't I? But I see her in the back of my mind all the time, like a fever, like I'm burning alive, like a sign. So you can see that she feels quite guilty about what she's done. Did I cross the line? Well, good things don't last, and life moves so fast. I'd never ask who was better, because she couldn't be, more different from me, happy and free in leather. And I know that you love me, you don't need to remind me, you want to put it all behind me. This is just such a brutal, meaningful track. You can just feel the guilt that she feels from what she's done. It's a very, very powerful track. Did I cross the line? You say no one knows you so well, but every time you touch me, I just wonder how she felt. Valentine's Day, crying in the hotel. I know you didn't mean to hurt me, so I kept it to myself, and I wonder, do you see her in the back of your mind, in my eyes? Whoa, that's like a really, really nice way to put it. Really, really creative way to put it. You say no one knows you so well, but every time you touch me, I just wonder how she felt. Valentine's Day crying in the hotel. I know you didn't mean to hurt me, so I kept it to myself. This is just so, so powerful, meaningful, brutal. You can just see the guilt in just such a complex, complicated situation, and just like the emotions, feelings, and thoughts that she'd be having. But she just captures it so, so well in this track, just in the lyrics, the vocals, the production, just everything about it is so, so just very like talented, skilled, creative. It's just a masterclass, to be honest. And now we've got the sixth track on the album titled The Greatest. It's like a softly voiced guitar ballad that just turns into an absolute belter. Just, yeah, it starts off very, very slow and then builds up and gets really, really amped up. And then it just, yeah, ends with a crescendo. I really, really enjoyed this track as well because the lyrics go through her feelings of like defeat, loneliness, anger, and also mourning for like what could have been. And also, by her using sarcasm, Billie explains how she feels like she gave her all in the relationship and how she loved and appreciated this person. And even though they didn't reciprocate those feelings, having shown no passion, interest, or any appreciation whatsoever, and in her eyes, that they had even failed to express any heartbreak even after the relationship had come to its end. There's also strings behind the vocals and the bridge. I just really, really like this track. Like this whole album is just making you just feel the cathartic feelings and emotions and thoughts, and it's just so well crafted musically, lyrically, and yeah, it's just a really, really great track. Let's just quickly look at what Billie said about this track in an interview that she had with the Sydney Morning Herald. I quote, Billie said, "That's one of my favorite songs on the album. Also, making that song really opened a door to being honest that I hadn't really been letting happen. We finished the album after that. It just started flowing out of us supernaturally." Seventh track on the album, L'amour de ma vie, and in French it means the love of my life. I also really, really like this track. It's 5.5 minutes long and a complete roller coaster of a ride of a track. And the song finds Billie delving into the complexities of love and heartbreak and reflecting on a past relationship filled with emotional chaos. Ironically, she says she never says the phrase "l'amour de ma vie," and she sticks to English in the phrasing of the song, just saying "the love of my life." So yeah, having the French title but never really uttering it. I really like how it starts off, and then the drums kick in as well, and also there's guitar. But then I also really, really like how it changes instrumentally, and also the sound of her voice with the distortion on it. And then towards the end of the song, like the beat completely changes, the flow and everything, and it just becomes like a hyperpop song. It's, yeah, like a complete roller coaster like ride of a track being 5.5 minutes long, and just, yeah, everything changes about it lyrically, instrumentally, the flows, the lyrics, and yeah, it just goes from like the guitar and very slow, the drums kicking in, and it gets more amped up, and then just completely changing the beat into like hyper pop. A very, very good track. Just once again, quickly look at what Billie said about the song, and she says the end of L'Amour is this little breakdown track called Over Now. And that was a big one. That was like me and Phineas just like messing around, and the kind of thing we were like, no one's ever gonna hear this. And recently, Phineas said this recently. We kind of just had this realization that the bravest thing we could do was just to put it out exactly how we made it and not try to make it better, so that people would, And he was like, no, 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 no. So that's through the Triple J interview, and I'm really, really great they put out this track. It's like more experimental. Like you wouldn't kind of and you wouldn't expect this from like Billie and Phineas, but I'm really, really glad they put the track out. Just everything about it is just enjoyable. Like I said, once again, complete roller coaster ride of a track. Just so much to like about it. And yeah, when you're listening to it on the album for the first time, it's just really, really unexpected, but at the same time, it's not unexpected at all from someone as talented as Billie and her brother Phineas. Eighth track on the album, titled The Diner, and just the title of the song being The Diner just instantly makes you picture a diner from your own memory of, being there, going there, or just like from a movie or TV show. And yeah, this track, Billy's, is really putting the frightening side of fame into perspective, and it finds her telling a story from the perspective of a stalker. And it drags a plot from her past experiences with her many stalkers, some of which she had to get restraining orders from. And she's had stalkers from like quite a young age as well, like amassing her fame and success. And yeah, this track just delves into the themes of obsession and desperation, but also the lyrics show a troubled individual who crosses boundaries just to be with their lover, so like trespassing, and how they struggle with rejection as well as the legal trouble. And while she's taking the perspective of a crazed fan of hers, it's really just drawing from her own personal experiences. So it's just interesting to see her make a track from that kind of perspective when she's like the victim, but making a track from the perspective of a perpetrator. Second last track of the album being called Bittersweet. And yeah, another roller coaster ride of a track just with the changing instrumentals, beat, vocals, flow, lyrics, and it starts off with like heavy synths, and I'm a guy who loves synths. And the title being Bittersweet is a play on the word bittersweet, to do with taste, or just something being bittersweet, just like really unfortunate, and converting the suffix being sweet into the homophonic suite, like hotel suite. It's seeming as if it's a minor change, but the conversion of sweet compels the idea that Billie has been feeling, left like bitter, or like she feels very unfortunate in like a hotel suite, on her own with no tinge of pleasure. And with the song being sectioned into parts, this is reminiscent of a musical suite, which features a group of self-contained instrumental movements of varying character, usually in the same key. And I think part one serves as the prelude, and the spoken part serving as the postlude. So the song, finds Billie as if she's distant from her own desires and emotions while idealizing a relationship in her dreams. And confliction here is a clear emotion within the song, as she knows she has to protect herself, but strives for a healthy relationship. And if we just talk more about the track and the beat and production, there's just lots of synthesizers, piano and bass. The vocals are like quite crazy on this as well. There's percussion, there's guitar, and I think there's like a glockenspiel or like a xylophone. Yeah, it's just a really interesting track. It's similar to another track on the album where it just feels like a complete roller coaster ride because so much is changing and it's very experimental. But at the same time, when you're listening to the album for the first time, it's quite enjoyable to see what kind of journey you're being taken on. On an interview with Triple J, Billy and Phineas have spoken about the song Bittersweet and explaining how it was created. And they say, Bittersweet is one of those where me and Phineas were just messing around and thinking like no one's ever going to hear this. And Phineas said this recently. But we kind of just had this realization, the coolest and bravest thing that we could do is just to put it out exactly how we made it, and not try to make it better so that people like it. We're allowed to just make it how we want to, and just make it how we want to make it, and just put it out. It has nothing to do what people are going to want. It's about, do we enjoy this, and do we like this? Now we've got the final track of the album being titled Blue, and this track is just like a profound, layered piece that functions both as a thematic closure, but also like a clever callback to the earlier phases of her career. And it blends two songs together, I guess you could call like True Blue and Born Blue, into like one seamless, yet emotionally complex experience. So part one is like a minimal, vulnerable ballad about heartbreak, misunderstanding, and emotional misalignment. Meanwhile, the second part, being Born Blue, is a shift into a more theatrical, surreal tone, whereas Billy's like confronting like identity, loss, and like her public perception. I'd say like this track is a culmination of like the album's themes of self-perception, longing, detachment, and like reinvention as well. If we look at the context of this closing track within the rest of the album on Hit Me Hard and Soft, from like L'amour de ma vie is like the theme of rewriting a romantic narrative. From Wildflower and The Greatest, it's like the ache of like unreciprocated love and the pain of growing apart. And on Skinny, there's like themes of external judgment, especially regarding body image and fame. And it serves as kind of like a mirror to the entire album, as it acknowledges both the sorrow and absurdity of her emotional world. And if we look at it through like thematic interpretation, the two song structure reflects like a deeper duality of like introspection versus confrontation, softness versus performance, private emotion versus public image. And yeah, there's just like a self-realization, because by the end of the track she doesn't offer like a resolution, and instead she seems to say like, I'm still figuring it out, I feel blue, I was born blue, and like maybe that's just who I am. And if you look at like the visual and emotional palette, like the color blue obviously for like sadness, but also there's like depth, loyalty, melancholy, coldness, and even like beauty as well. And like the sonic shifts feel like waves or like mood swings, which matches the unpredictable nature of like love and identity and like young adulthood. And like her delivery moves from like intimate confession to like performance art, and it challenges the listener to question what's real and what's constructed. And I'd say like this track closing out the album is a really good ending, because it's like equal parts of like grief, irony, and ambiguity. But also Billy is like telling us that she doesn't just like, she's not just like handing us closure, and she kind of gives us like a contradiction. And by doing so, like she's embodying the hit me hard and soft like paradox, like title of the album, like doing it quite perfectly, because it sounds like someone who's reflecting on pain, mocking her own image, and kind of confronting the absurdity of trying to be understood. And once again, just quickly look through what she said about the closing track Blue. In an interview with Zane Lowe, Billy says, "We just tried to rework it, True Blue. The verses never felt right. We couldn't really crack it. And then Phineas started changing the chords, and I started singing Born Blue. And then we had this realization, like, ooh, you know what would be cool? Like if we took both of these old songs in completely different parts of our lives and just resurrected them and made them into one song called Blue." And then also like the writing process, she said during a same interview with Zane Lowe about the writing process, like Blue. So there's this whole backstory of the song, which a lot of people know, and we really wanted to rewrite everything, but the chorus and what we really wanted, like to redo the whole song. We kind of just wanted to have the hook and like some sort of verse. But we made this song when I was 14, and Ocean Eyes had just come out, and Phineas was just like 18. And anyways, the lyrics have kind of just aged or whatever. We just wanted to rewrite them for lots of reasons. And there was one day we just sat here and we rewrote these lyrics for 6 hours straight. And we wrote several verses, wrote many verses and many versions of each verse. It was so tedious and hard, and we didn't take a break at all. And we were like, no, we need to rewrite it. Like we'll get there, and we eventually finished it. And I was driving home, and you and I were like, I'm so glad we did that. And as I was driving home and listened to it, I was like, these are some of the worst lyrics we've ever written. And that's kind of an example of not take the time with it and just push it. The verse that we ended up writing references every single song on the album, and I just think that's like quite an interesting thing to do, to have your closing track just reference every song on the album and just really tie the album together with the ending. It's very like it's very. I've never really seen it done on an album before, but I quite like it. I really enjoyed listening to Billie Eilish's album from start to finish once again. It's just a really great album that's so emotional, cathartic. It's just great overall with like production, the instruments, the beats, the vocals, the lyrics, just how it's arranged by her brother Phineas on production, and also just Billie herself, like her creative ideas with the writing and vocals. It's just a really great album. And another thing I like about it as well is just the album cover, where she's like underwater and there's this like door like opened up and she's kind of like sinking through it. And what I really like and respect is that I saw the behind the scenes where she shot this practically. So she was like underwater and having to do so many takes and like inhaling oxygen and stuff like that. So it really just adds to the authenticity of the album and Billie as like an artist and as a person, because he could have easily just faked it with like Photoshop and AI, but her wanting to do it practically really just shows like the kind of integrity and authenticity she has as both a person and artist. Thanks for watching this album reaction to Billie Eilish's Hit Me Hard and Soft. If you like what you saw, please like, subscribe, and comment down below any other artists, albums, genres, songs, and music that you'd like me to listen to, appreciate, and make videos about. Thanks for watching. See ya.